Thank you for watching the World Community Magazine's Hour of Power Live on Facebook with your hosts Edward McQueen and April Garner.
Oh, you're muted, Brother Edward.
Maybe I was about to say some things I didn't want to be said.
That may be it.
That may be it. Oh, man.
How you doing this evening?
Good. So good to be back. Wow, we got a wealth of information as usual.
Mm-hmm.
You know, guess what? They don't have to pay for it. As long as they're looking, all right, as long as they're visiting the website or viewing us today in any of those platforms that we propagated or sent out on the airwaves.
Mm-hmm.
So, good evening. I'm your host, Ed McQueen, and of course, our co-host, Miss April Garner. And what you also as a preview with April holding up a cup. That's a very expensive cup, by the way.
It's an expensive cup. It was a gift. It was a
gift.
It was a going away gift. It was, and it had a beautiful message. Stay positive.
Yeah, I saw that. I was trying to find me a cup that was kind of like compliment that, but.
Mm-hmm. Hey, find a cup that goes with your personality. There's so much you can do with that. There's a lot you can do with that.
That cup would be cracked from top to bottom. All right,
I would say that, but yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot that goes along with that. It'd be a great cup.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Mm-hmm. Let's give these folks some credit, real credit.
Okay.
Some credit information.
Yes.
Today, and taxes, the way they can save on taxes.
Mm-hmm.
So kick it off, April. What do you think?
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, I think it's time to get started.
Let's do it.
We want you to grab your pens and notepad.
Absolutely.
Look, I have mine. I'm going to take plenty of notes. And
right here.
There you go. There you go.
Right.
So we can learn all we can from our wonderful guest tonight, who will be talking about taxes and credit.
Absolutely.
And it's all about your financial health. So we got to make sure that we have our business in order. And I don't know anyone who couldn't use some of the knowledge that's about to be dropped on this show. So since we have a lot to cover, and then we also have our wonderful WCM Live correspondent, Marcus McCullough. He's going to be here tonight to give us some news from around our local area. And so we're just going to bring it to you live, just like always do.
I'm serious.
Just like we always do. Yeah, and we're going to start with our special guest out of the Charleston area, Miss Tarsha Anderson-Laboard. How are you?
I am great. How are you two?
I'm doing fine tonight. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. We really do appreciate it.
Oh,
absolutely,
you guys.
Yeah. So I was, Brother Edward, I was looking around for a tax expert and a credit expert, and trust me, there were a lot of people who were mentioned on the network, and it was just, it was really hard to figure out, well, which way do I go? And so I said, well, I'll go based on availability, and tapped into Miss Tarsha. She was like, I'd love to do the show. And of course, we love having great guests, and especially when we can bring guests from other areas around the state and around even the nation. And so that's why we're World Community Magazine. Am I right?
Well, absolutely. Doesn't she look like a tax person?
Actually, she looks more like an entertainer to me.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I love the colors. I love what's going on there. Yeah, it's beautiful.
Well, I'll take it. I'll take all of that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Welcome to the show.
Yeah. And what I have learned about Tarsha is that she's about her business. Okay. So, we want to go ahead and get started. And Tarsha, there are a couple of things that we want to touch on as key points tonight that we definitely want to educate our audience on. And so let's start, first of all, by letting them know who you are. So please introduce yourself. Let us know the name of your business and tell us where you're from.
Okay. So I am Tarsha Anderson-Laboard. I am from Charleston, South Carolina, right here. I am a tax professional with almost 20 years of experience. I'm an insurance agent as well. And I own a business consulting agency where I help businesses make sure that they're started up correctly and legally, have all their ducks in a row in order to, gain access to grants, funding, and just so there are no holdbacks to anything that they want to do.
Wow. I didn't know she had all that in her basket.
Yeah,
I thought we were just talking taxes. We're going to have to bring her back for
That's
2
right.
or 3 more shows. I'm telling you.
Consultation now. Y'all, look, I know
love
some people who need some help like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yes. Well, Tarsha, we're glad you're here today. And 20 years
Absolutely.
of experience, it goes without saying that you probably know what you're talking about tonight.
Yes, I think.
I think you know what you're talking about tonight. Exactly. So, what we're going to start.
April, I'm sorry, let me interrupt. Let the audience know that this information is free. All right.
You love saying that. Free 99. Free 99. Okay.
Free.
Now, Tarsha is not going to guarantee. Go ahead.
Is that okay with you, Tarsha?
Oh yeah, tonight is free.
There you go. I was going to say.
But I heard that disclaimer. She said tonight is free.
She's like, you better get it while you can, because anything else, you're going to have to pay that consulting fee. But that's all right, because that's how it's supposed to be.
That's right.
Right. So, Tarsha, let's get into it. First of all, it's tax season, and there are a lot of people who just could not wait for those the W-2s to drop. They were like, one hand on the W-2 and the other hand on the electronic filing. They were ready for it. And I know that there were a lot of things that people probably didn't anticipate this year, things that may have changed. And of course, all through COVID and the pandemic, there were lots of, I guess you could say, credits that were given and things that people needed to consider when they, got ready to, or when they were ready to file their taxes. And so, I'm sure we're going to touch upon a number of those things throughout, but, we're going to start with some of the things that, people tend to kind of get hung up on, and things that they really need to understand when they're filing their taxes, or how these particular things can impact their credit. So let's start off with the, when you're filing your taxes, let's just kind of walk some folks through. When you're filing your taxes, what's the first thing that you really need to do before you start putting any kind of numbers into the forms or whatever? What's the first thing you need to do?
So the first thing I would say you need to do is to gather all of your tax forms from various avenues. For instance, if you got unemployment, there's a tax form for that. If you took any money, out of any type of investment tool, 401k or anything like that, there's a tax form for that. If you have any type of savings, CDs, or anything like that, money markets, then you may have an interest form from the bank. If you got health care through the marketplace, there's a form for that. You may have done some independent work for somebody, they may issue you a 1099. So I think the first thing really is to make sure that you have all of your tax forms, all of your W-2s. You might have switched, jobs or whatnot. So make sure you just have all of your information, because going back and adding that information, doing an amendment can be a very lengthy process right now, because they're so behind, and it's easier to just be accurate starting off.
Mm-hmm, absolutely. And so after you get, as you get all your tax documents or all of your documents together, and you're ready to start plugging in those numbers, usually people are concerned with the earned income credit and the child tax credit. So can you explain to us what the difference is between the earned income credit and the child tax credit?
Yes, of course, definitely. So earned income credit is a refundable credit that's primarily designed for lower incomes, based on the amount of dependents that you are claiming, and for yourself, depending on what your income is. So that's the earned income credit. Now, child tax credit is a credit that you receive for the dependent children that you have that are under age 17. And if there is an income limit on that as well, but it is a little higher. It's not, as low as the earned income credit. So with earned income credit, I've seen individuals that, 1 year they may, have an income of 25,000, and then the next year, they may jump to 60 or 70 and don't understand why their refund changes. Mm-hmm. And it changes because the earned income credit, it works on a scale. So if you have two less income, you don't get as much, but then you get to the middle and you kind of peak there. But as your income grows, then your earned income credit will decrease. So once you get to a certain limit, then you're totally out of earned income credit, and you don't receive that credit any longer because you've made too much money.
Okay.
And with child tax credit, child tax credit isn't solely based on the income until you get to that limitation amount. But as long as your children are under 17, and that means when they turn 17 in that year, then you no longer get the child tax credit either.
Mm-hmm. So this past year and past year or two, people were receiving these what were they calling them, Brother Edward?
The advanced child tax.
Yeah, the advanced child tax credit. So
yes.
Talk about the impact of receiving or accepting the advanced child tax credits.
Okay, so what the advanced child tax credit is due to the rescue plan, they increased the amount that you could get. So instead of the normal $2,000, it was like $3,600. So what the advance did was give you half of that during the year from July to December, and then you would receive the other half on your taxes. So it wasn't I guess like a stimulus payment kind. It wasn't like it was given to you and going to be taken away. It was just an advance on what the credit amount was for this year.
Okay.
And that's for this year. So no telling what's going to happen next year. Okay.
Exactly.
So the impacts in that for a lot of people, it really didn't make a difference because there was an advance anyway that was based on your income. And as long as you were still claiming those same, dependents that you have, most people really did not see a difference. For instance, if your income was over $60,000 and let's say you claim some dependents and you did not claim them, but you already received the child tax credit, then it did make an impact because it would be deducted out of your potential refund amount.
Okay. All right. So when you say it doesn't make a difference, does that mean that people receiving the credit would probably receive about the same type of refund that they would expect each year? Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Yes. Most people, depending on where their income is, the normal amount that they would get would stay around the same because, for instance, if they got $1,800, they would get the other $1,800 on their tax return. And so for some people, it leveled out to the usual amount. The only people that it really made a big difference for is if you had a new baby in 2021 or a new dependent, then you would receive the entire $3,600 for that child because the child just arrived.
Just arrived. Okay. All right. So, now that we understand the difference between the earned income credit, the child tax credit, and the impact of the advance tax credits, let's talk about, the withholdings that affect your taxes at the end of the year. So, tell us a little bit about that. How does what you're withholding affect your taxes at the end of the year?
Okay. So withholdings, I just want to start off by saying that this is probably one of the biggest reasons why people owe taxes because they don't understand or don't know how their withholdings on their job all year on their W-4 affects you at tax time. So for instance, just for an example, if I am married with 2 children, I'll say this. Let's say that I'm married with 2 children. And that's what I file on my W-4 at work all year. But at the end of the year, I file single, let's just say. Now, there's going to be a big difference because your allowances have already been accounted for all year more than what they should have been because at the end of the year, you claimed less. So, for instance, and I'll just throw out there, like a lot of times people will say, oh, well, I claim 9 so I can get all of my money during the year. If you claim 9 all during the year to get all of your money and you're not paying taxes, enough is not coming out, then when you file your taxes, you have to pay that back. So for that instance, you're going to owe. So whatever you are claiming at the end of the year, unless it's like something comes up and it's, not planned, but whatever you're claiming at the end of the year, you should also be claiming that during the year on your W-4 so that it matches and so that you're paying the correct amount of taxes are coming out of your check. And a lot of times what I like to do is educate people on that to why they owe, just because they don't people just don't really get it or understand the effect that does have. Or for instance, even if your income increases. So if I'm making $30,000 a year and I'm claiming 1, then I probably will still get a refund because, I don't have a lot of income and my tax rate is lower. But let's say I jump and I make $100,000 a year. So even in those cases, based on where your income is, you may have to claim zero, get all of the taxes taken out and do additional because your tax rate is higher. You know, so I always tell people you kind of plan for the year ahead, and which is something that I will say I'm very fortunate that a lot of my clients will say, okay, well, you know, I'm making more money now, or I got a raise. What should I do on my W-4? And I think that actually this year probably has been the most that I've seen clients needing help with their W-4s and going back into their employers and changing their W-4s to make sure that they are correct.
And that they're having enough taxes taken out during the year.
Yes.
And what do you think that's the result of? You think that of the result of the recent tax laws implemented by the former administration?
I do think so. And I also think that people are right now being more aware of their finances and more aware of, you know, just not wanting to have to keep paying back for no reason when it can be solved. But I will say that I think that since people are more aware that financially people are becoming more responsible and saying that, okay, well, let me do this correctly so that it doesn't affect me, or let me do something different so that I'm not in a cycle of debt with the IRS and accruing interest and fees and, you know, all of that. And I think that, you know, people just, you know, really are paying attention now because of what's going on and what's been going on the last couple of years, paying attention to their finances.
And, you know, it makes a lot of sense. And you know, if people weren't educated before on what they need to do, now is the time to do it, especially since like you said, some of these things are maybe going away that they probably could have taken advantage of, and we don't know what the next year is going to hold. And even from a job standpoint, you don't know. So, you know, when I talk to people who are talking about, you know, their taxes and how they're filing, you know, I've heard folks say, well, you know, when I file, I try to optimize and take the most money home that I can. You know, and so they make sure they're maximizing on the number of withholdings and all that. But what they fail to understand is that when you get that money during the year, you can't expect a big refund at the end of the year. Is that correct?
That is very correct. That is very correct.
Brother was laughing.
Right. That is very correct. So you can keep all your money during the year. That's fine if you want to do that. But just know at the end of the year, you're going to have to, you know, give Uncle Sam his cut.
You took the words out of my mouth. I was going to say the same thing. Uncle Sam's going to get his. Okay.
Right.
Regardless
to whatever you do. Right. He wants his money. So you can choose when you're going to take it. But, you know, he wants his cut. And I think that, you know, some of that just has to do with not being aware of how taxes work as well. Because in all reality, and I say this to some people, and it's truly not to be offensive, but for instance, earned income credit is for low income. So if you have a choice to make a low income and receive a check one time a year, as opposed to making a higher income and living all year doing what you need to do, then it more than balances out. So some of that is a mindset.
Right.
To get a large refund once a year that really doesn't last that long because you haven't made enough money all year. So you're just really playing catch up.
Right.
You know, but if you can earn a higher income, you most people, they really don't care about a tax refund. They just want to not owe.
Absolutely. You're right.
Yeah. You hear that all the time. Okay. You know, Tarsha, the politics that are coming into play now, for example, and hopefully you've been keeping up with the new code enforcement, tax enforcement laws that you've been reading about or hearing about, and the IRS or the president himself has instructed the IRS to add some hundreds or maybe thousands of more employees to enforce the tax laws now. One of those enforcement items is for the IRS to keep track on your bank account.
Yes.
Okay. I never knew that happened before. I mean, They just trust you to tell them what you had in the bank and stuff like that. But now they're gonna be more enforcing the bank account. So they'll know exactly what you pull out of your bank. So I think that's kind of invasion.
Well,
my personal opinion on that, and this is just strictly my personal opinion, is that I feel the good have to suffer along with the not so good.
Yeah.
Because it was so much money being thrown out there that people were abusing.
Right.
So now I feel it's like the people that really do what they're supposed to do have to endure that and suffer along with that.
Right.
So, and really, like I said, my opinion is really it's if you look at the way how the events were going. So we were in, whatever that thing is that we were in, and money is being given out. So at some point in time, I would figure that if you're giving out all of this money, saying that, you own businesses or whatever the case may be, why you got the money, then where's the taxes, the returns are not equaling up with everybody who says that they have a business now. Because the last 2 years, the amount of people that started a business or said they have a business is like crazy. So, well, if we have all these businesses and everybody's applying for, LLCs and EINs and all these people are making money, then the tax returns are not equaling up. So where's our cut of this money that everybody's saying they lost from their businesses that they had? So it's kind of, you if you were thinking about it, you had to know that on the back end, something was going to come of it,
Right.
So I really feel like that's what it is, a tracking, sort of say. Because all the money that was given out, then we need some of it back.
And that's
absolutely. True. Yeah, absolutely. So let's talk. We kind of talking about some real adult things. So let's break it down to the level for the youth and teenagers to understand, and even their parents, as we find a lot of young people are working. I mean, if you're like me, I started when I was 14 working. I've been working since 14, my first job at McDonald's or whatever. And how does a parent file if the teenager has a job? And also, how does the teenager file taxes and even after they graduate high school? So explain that a little bit.
Okay. So if a teenager has a job, the parents still can claim those children. The only thing that needs to happen is when the child files their taxes, which generally, like for my clients, I file them and their children just to make sure that it's filed correctly. There's a box that you can check that says that they are filed as a dependent on somebody else's return. And with them doing that, they can still file their return and get back the money that, they paid in taxes. And then the parent still can claim them as a dependent. So what happens that sometimes, let's say the parents may not be aware, and they say, oh, well, my child works, so I'm going to let them claim themselves. And so my first question is, well, are you still supporting them? Are they still in school? Yes. Well, they didn't earn enough money to take care of themselves. So you still get to claim them. And then, they get their refund, and then you still get the full credit for them as well. Okay. So if you have a teenager, then you still can file them. And then even when they graduate high school, as long as they're in college, you can file them up until age 24. Okay?
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Yeah. So just because they're in college doesn't mean that, oh, well, I boot them off my taxes. No. So long as they're in college, in school, then you can claim them as a dependent until 24.
So if you're claiming them until they're 24 and that teenager or young person is filing taxes as well, is there burden of proof on anyone, or is it that the parent can claim the child or the teenager as a dependent and the teenager can also file taxes? How does that work?
Yes,
exactly.
So what would happen is, let's just set an example. My teenage daughter. So my teenage daughter, she works, has a job. So at tax time, she files her taxes, but on her taxes, it will be listed that she's on my taxes, that she's a dependent already being filed. So then that way, when I file my taxes, I don't have any issues because it's already known to the IRS that she is a dependent of mine. And so and on her taxes, it reflects that, yes, somebody else is claiming her as a dependent. So then you both can file.
Okay. All right. Well, then that makes a lot of sense. And so, what do you need to prove that you're eligible to claim a dependent? It says in a random verification audit.
Yes. And the reason that says random is because the last couple of years, well, I'll say the last few years, the IRS has been doing a lot of random verification audits, which they may be your children or may not be your children, but they're just random. Some of them are just random. So that doesn't mean that you did anything wrong, but they're just random selections. Okay. And then there are some that are not so random, but there are some that are random. So in that, they will ask you to prove your support, that you supported this child, that the child has lived with you. So in those cases, some of the things that you would need to send in to prove your relationship to the dependent as well, you would need to send in like long form birth certificates, which is a big issue because a lot of people just have like the short form because they never really need the long form for anything unless, it's something legal or something. Most people just have the little short form that you're giving usually. So they ask for the long form birth certificate, usually listing the parents' names just to make sure that proves that relation. You have to submit maybe medical records, like something from the doctor, showing that child, is at your address, that you're the guardian. School records. You have to show that, you are the person that is the legal guardian of this child. Your lease with the child listed on there, if you like rent, immunization records, anything that proves your relationship to that dependent child, is usually what they will ask for in a random verification audit. And they may even ask you to prove different things, that you take care of this child or that you have the means to take care of this child based on what your income is.
Okay.
Or what all income you received.
Right. All income. Okay. All right. Woo, Brother Edward, she's dropping some good old information tonight.
And guess what? I mean, this thing is free. Oh, man.
Oh, here we go. Free 99. I need to make a banner for that.
Well, I like your disclaimer though, just for this evening. Tonight.
Look, Brother Edward, there you go. Free 99.
Yeah, but I like that.
Oh man, April.
You have to trademark that.
Exactly.
That's right. That's right.
That is so funny, but this is great information, and it just gives you a lot to think about, because if you've already filed, it's definitely too late to do anything about anything that she's talking about. But as you're moving forward, now's the time to really think about your withholdings and to prepare for the credits that you will not receive because certain things have happened. But also, if you have a teenager who's like, I'm ready to work, you need to think about how that's going to impact not only that teen's ability to file taxes, but your ability to claim them as a dependent. So, this is all great stuff. Yes. So, of course, we have one more question. Okay. And then listen, y'all, guess what? The free 99 is over. We have one more question. You better get it in.
Yeah, that's right.
You better get it in, okay? Come on and ask your questions if you have any. But what should I do if I owe the IRS?
Okay. First of all, I will say this, and I just want to go back real quick to the last question with the dependents. That a while ago, it was easy just to claim anybody's kids. Now it is not. So I'm gonna tell you, do not claim other people's children.
Okay, look.
Go ahead. If they do not live with you, you don't take care of them. Do not claim them people kids. Okay. All right.
Brother, I'm getting ready to do not claim other people's children. Okay.
Listen. That's a Charleston. I had to bring the Geechee out.
Yeah. There you go. Don't claim them children. Don't do that.
That is as Gola as they're ever going to get.
I'm trying to tell you.
All right. All right. So what should you do if you owe the IRS? First, if you owe the IRS, file your taxes on time. File your taxes every year. Definitely do that. There are options if you qualify for them. The first would be an installment agreement. So get on a payment plan. Don't ignore the IRS. Don't ignore that. Don't ignore the IRS. Get on a payment plan. Most of the times, if you're trying to pay, they will work with you. They have to know that you are making moves to pay this off. Do your best to pay it off, because there's interest accruing daily.
Right.
There's penalties. Your bill can start off at $5,000 and end up at $15,000 easily.
Whew,
okay, just from interest every day. So get an installment plan. Do something that's comfortable, that you can pay them and pay them. Do that. Okay. Now, if you owe over $10,000, you know, there is something that you can do, another option, and that's an offer and compromise, where they will look at all of your expenses, your living expenses, look at all your bills. They will look at everything, and then look at the income that you have and determine if maybe you can do a settlement amount, which maybe can be a lower amount. Now, there is a lot of work involved there and a lot of variables, but that's an option as well, depending on what it is, you know, that you owe and your situation. Now, I will tell you, if you have property and, you know, a lot of assets and stuff, yeah, you're not going to get offer and compromise, because they're going to tell you to get rid of some of that stuff to pay your tax debt.
Sell it. You mean to tell me they're going to say you got to sell it? You got to
sure
get.
will.
Oh
they
goodness!
Sure will.
Go ahead and liquidate that and pay it off. Okay.
Yes, and another reason why you want to pay them, because if you do have assets, they can definitely become the IRS assets. They will freeze your bank account. If you are not paying and they put a lien, you know, so, you know, people like to ignore those little letters, but when you get that letter and it says lien on it, best believe they're getting ready to, you know, go into your belongings. Okay.
Without informing you, giving you a warning?
Oh no, there's no warning. There's no warning. You'll go on like Friday morning to check your direct deposit, because you know you get your little notification, we'll see how much money you got, and it will be very, very reduced. Okay.
Ooh, goodness.
And you will be sitting there like, what happened? And that's because they have garnished your pay.
Well, what had happened was you didn't pay that.
Because we had to need our money. We had to need our money, you know, or you will go to the bank and the bank will tell you that your account is frozen.
So what sounds unfair to you, Tarsha? I mean, about the whole tax situation, the tax scenario of the nation.
So one of the main things that I think that I find really unfair is that when it comes to more mature individuals, and let's say they receive their pension, right, that you pay taxes forever if you have a pension, or any type of interest income. I have clients that are well into their 90s still paying taxes because they get a pension. And they get Social Security, and they get, you know, interest income off of the money that they've saved all their life. So I really, I really feel like that's unfair, because you work for that money. So that pension, you know, you feel is due to you, but you have to pay taxes on it.
And you also pay tax on Social Security, don't you?
Well, you pay taxes on Social Security based on the other income that you receive. So if you have no other income coming in, then no, you don't pay taxes on Social Security. Okay. But if you have like Social Security and a pension, then it can make your Social Security taxable, depending on the amount. So if you just get Social Security, you're fine. You don't ever, you know, you're good. You don't have to do anything. But if you have other means of payment, you know, of income coming in, then it does matter, and then you have to pay taxes on that. So, you know, I kind of, you know, think it should just cut off once you draw your pension or whatnot. It's like, why you got to pay taxes? And but that's what I think. I really think that is unfair.
Well, I certainly hope some people are listening to that, because they're under the impression that you know, you get your Social Security and that's it, or you don't pay any taxes. Okay, even if you're working. You've got another job, okay? I mean, a lot of people on that impression.
You have to, like I said, and my take on that is, unless you're getting Social Security by itself, you don't have to do anything. But honestly, you know, like most people are finding other means of income or have something else coming in, just because Social Security is not enough. But that's a whole different topic. But
okay.
You know.
well, we have a couple of comments from some viewers. Ms. Margie McIver, who is our icon and a Charlestonian. She says, so true. Remember, we talked about Miss McIver at pre-show. And then, of course, Yvette Anderson says, very informative. Thank you both for watching tonight. Bonnie Edie. Now, you know these people probably watching. She talking about greedy hour.
Bonnie.
Ooh, Bonnie, you being bad
Bonnie.
tonight.
Yeah.
I know. But then there's also a question tonight from Evans Nicholson. He says, what is the Fresh Start program? Are you familiar with that, Tarsha?
Okay, so a Fresh Start program. And a Fresh Start program, a lot of the times when you see that, it's not technically an IRS-backed program. What it is, most of the time, and I'm not going to say all the time, but most of the time, it is a company that is offering to step in and make some type of negotiations on your behalf, whether it's a payment arrangement or most of the time is offering compromise. And like this is my opinion. Offering compromise is something that you can do without going to a company and paying them a fee, because most of them do charge a fee based on what the amount that you owe. So most of the time in those Fresh Start programs, if they're advertised by anyone other than the IRS, which most of the time it is that type of program. Is basically a program to kind of put you on offering compromise and gather all of that to reduce your liability that you have to the IRS. But as long as you can prove that, it's something that, you know, all tax preparers don't do it because it is a very lengthy process. But if you find one that does it, then I would definitely go that route because there's usually no fees based on the amount that you owe. And you will have all of your information taken into account. And for a lot of people, you know, that I've done those for, it has worked in their favor based on their situation.
Another, we're going to take this final comment and then we have to move on. You could have had your own show. The information is amazing. And that's why we know we have to bring you back. So Ms. McIver also says, my biggest concern is investing money I earned and taxes already deducted. Then I'm being taxed when I take monies out.
Okay. Awesome.
Yeah.
Listen, awesome question. Awesome. So, however, I cannot give investment advice, but part
tonight
of that is when you start the investing.
That's not the free 99, Brother Edward. That's not the free 99. You're right. Go ahead, Tarsha.
Okay. But when you start the investment process with anything, you always want to personalize it for you and see what's going to work best for you based on your age, based on what your plans are for your money, based on when you're going to take it out. Because it's really, I'm going to tell you, it's a strategy game. That's all it is. It's a way to defer the taxes as long as you can. It's just you have to strategize it based on your age and what you have going on and where you put the money based on what your levels are of what you want to risk, how much you want to earn, and how safe you want your money to be. So there are always different options tax deferred for you, but it's really, that's why when it comes to putting money aside, investing, it has to be very personal to you. And if it is put in a proper place, when it gets to the point where you're taking it out, you won't avoid all taxes on it, but sometimes it is so less that it wouldn't even matter to you. So when you start the investment process, and that really, a lot of younger people and stuff, I always talk to them about this as well, that you have to base it on you and where you're at. So you can't just follow what everyone says. Oh, well, go put your money here, put your money there, because it may affect you differently than it affects me. And based on time wise, based on age, everything is, you have to take the whole picture into account.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, Brother Edward, I'm telling you, this is some amazing information. And we actually thank you so much for educating everyone tonight. I learned a lot of things and confirmed a lot of things. And I think that our audience really appreciated it. So Tarsha, I put your information in the chat if you'd like to be in touch with Tarsha Anderson-Laboard at Boss Things Consulting LLC in Charleston.
Like how you said that.
You like that? She take care of business for real. you know, the information.
I didn't pay attention to that.
Yeah, Brother
That's
Ed.
a boss. BOS.
It's okay. It's all right. We'll
Oh,
wait here.
yeah,
we'll wait here until you catch up. We'll wait here.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
But yeah, that is awesome. But her information is in the contact. Of course, you can replay this broadcast and listen to the information all over again if you're just tuning in. And we just want to thank you for being here. Again, Yvette Anderson, she must be your biggest cheerleader. She says a lot of wealthy information was shared tonight. That is awesome.
Wow.
Mama is always your biggest cheerleader, honey, no matter what. Evans Nicholson says, thank you for this information. And Ms. Bonnie said, great show. But look, but there's more, because guess what? We're getting ready to talk credit. So thank you so much, Ms. Tarsha. We really do appreciate it. And we're going to have you back.
Okay.
Yeah, gotta have you back. Well, should it be free, April?
You just want me. I know what you want me to do. You want me to run the banner. You want me to run a free 99 banner. That's what you want. No, Tarsha gave it all for taxes tonight that she can give for free. We'll have her back. Yeah, we'll have her back on another topic, and she might be able to give us a little bit more for free. But you got to call her if you really want the deep consultation.
Right,
okay?
absolutely.
That's right.
If you need the real assistance, give her a call. All right. Well, we're going to go to a very quick commercial break, and then we're going to come back with Dr. Lorenzo Johnson. He is going to talk about credit. Again, tonight is about financial health. So stay tuned. We'll be right back. Brother Edward, we are back. Yes, we are. Yeah. And we have another special guest tonight with 818 FMG out of Charlotte, North Carolina, Dr. Lorenzo Johnson Jr. How are you doing?
Good evening. Good evening. I'm doing well. How are you all?
All right. Lorenzo. Brother Edward, we're running it tonight. First, we talked about your taxes.
Yep.
And now we're going to talk about your credit. And remember, this is all what, Brother Edward?
Free. Okay. Free. FREE 99. All right.
Free 99. Okay.
Dr. Lorenzo,
I'm trying to say
what you gonna convey to us is also going to be free, right?
Yes, sir. Tonight is going to be free. It's going to be free tonight.
Put a caveat, man. That is a disclaimer.
Tonight.
Yeah, tonight. Tonight is going to be free.
Exactly. And again, welcome. Go ahead, Brother Edward.
Yes, sir. Yeah, welcome, Dr. Lorenzo. Dr. Lorenzo Johnson is a D818 Financial Management Group, LLC.
Yes, awesome. Yeah. And of course, we want you to do the same thing our last guest did. Please tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, and what you do.
Okay, great. My name is Lorenzo Johnson. I'm the owner and operator of D818 Financial Management Group here in Charlotte. We are a credit education and credit repair company. I like to put the distinctions between the two, because a lot of people just repair your credit but don't provide you with the education necessary to keep it. But we do both. All right. So I'm originally from Marion, South Carolina. So the PD region down there. I really wish we would have had shows like this coming up. And I think it would have been a little more informative, for us coming up as youth. But I'm glad you guys are doing this. And I think it's a wonderful idea.
Well, thank you so much.
Yeah, that just shows that all of us have grown, even yourself, man. I mean, we're able to communicate. You're coming back and giving this to this community. That's what it's all about.
That's what it's all about.
You're giving back, whether you know about it or not. Just for tonight.
Free 99, just for tonight.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Before you get started, there's somebody special watching, Sabrina Moore from Florida.
She's one of my fans from Florida. How you doing, Sabrina? Yeah.
Exactly. So, Lorenzo, we have some good stuff to talk about tonight, and I know a lot of people want to hear about this.
And you want me to go behind that tax talk? That was some powerful stuff.
Tarsha was amazing.
I had to get my mail together. My notices. I had to put them together.
Okay. All right. She was fabulous. But as I said before, all of this kind of goes together because she's talking about how you can maximize things to get,
Right.
the best refund to make sure you're paying the IRS the way you should and all that good stuff. And for a lot of people, they receive a sizable refund at the end of the year. And, they want to blue goose the money. They want to have fun, hair, nails, purses, and all this good stuff. But sometimes, it's good to take a portion of that money and do what you need to do to get your finances in order when it comes down to your credit, pay down some debt and stuff like that. So Lorenzo, Dr. Johnson, is here to talk to us tonight. And we're going to start with the ultimate question. What is credit?
Okay. Well, tonight we're going to, there are multiple forms of credit, but we're going to talk about personal credit tonight.
Yeah.
So if people have business credit information, that's at a later date. We're going to talk about personal credit tonight. But there's one thing that Ms. Tarsha stated. One word that she stated that I always like to bring to the forefront when we talk about credit is mindset. Mm-hmm. You have got to have a changed mindset if you want to move forward with credit. But credit, though, simply put, it's your financial power. All right. Mm-hmm. It helps you get the things you need, helps you get the things you possibly want, like car loans, mortgages, credit cards, anything that you need that you don't have money to pay for. But it's based upon the fact that you're going to actually pay that lender back in full and with interest on their money. So that's really what credit is. Now, there are some different myths and things that we can talk about in a few, but I can tell you what credit is not, though. All right. Mm-hmm, credit is not the lottery. All right. It's not a way for you to get rich and to prove your wealthiness. All right. After all, credit is just a tool. It just means that you have the availability of credit worthiness that a company sees and say, hey, you're credit worthy. I'm going to extend you this line of credit because I know that you will be able to pay me back, and not just pay me back what you owed, but you're going to pay me back with some more balance. All right. I mean, some more interest on that. All right. Mm-hmm. Credit is not flashy. All right. You talked about that a few minutes ago. It's not when you're looking on Instagram and you're showing the world that you can purchase a car and you can purchase a house. You can do all these. Those things are good, but it's not being flashy. All right. Exhausting all your resources, exhausting all your credit resources, and then you don't have enough money to pay those things at the end of each month. So credit is not the flashy, lavish stuff. It's a tool to be used responsibly. All right. And we have to make sure that we do that. And it's the ultimate tool that we have to use if we don't have actual cash on hand. All right. Mm-hmm. So when you think about wealthy people and rich people, they don't need credit. Why? Because they have the money to pay for those things, or they have the assets to trade for those things. But it's people like me and you who may not have the access. Right. We may not have the access to the money to buy a $300,000 house. So we have to prove that we'll be able to pay that back. Mm-hmm. 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 So there are different components of credit, and we're going to talk about the FICO score and the credit score here. So what makes up your FICO and credit score? And FICO is FICO is basically the Fair Isaac Corporation. All right. So I'm going to take a twist here. When you go online and go to Experian, you may see what they call a Vantage score. So it may not be your FICO score, but if you go to the bank, they'll run your FICO score. Those are two different systems that they use. No one really knows how they calculate, the points for each one. However, the points are generated based on a percentage here. All right. So when you look at your credit profile, it's made up of basically 5 sections. First one being 35%, which is your payment history. How well do you pay on time? All right. So 35% of your payment history makes up your credit report. Next thing is 30%. 30% are your balances. How much do you owe? You have a $100,000 house. How much are you owing on that? So that makes up 30% of your credit mix. All right. So then you have new credit. You're opening new lines of credit, opening new mortgage accounts, new installment accounts. Well, that's 10%. And then the length of credit history is 15%. However, to me, this is a real big one because the longer you have accounts on your credit report, the longer they report, for one, and then two, they increase your score because they're showing lenders that, hey, you've been in this game for a minute with this credit card or this mortgage. And so, we find you financially stable here. And lastly is 10% is the credit mix. So credit mix is basically your portfolio. Do you have a whole bunch of credit cards and nothing else? You have to have installment loans. All right. some type of loan on there to keep it going. You can't just
like
have
a car loan or something like that.
You got to have maybe a car loan, a student loan, any type of loan that you are paying on that shows some type of installment. All right. Revolving credit, like the credit cards and those things, you got to have those on there as well. Now they drive the points up really, really high, really quickly, the credit cards, rather than the installment loans. But you got to have a good mix of it, a good balance. And that's why it's very important to look at your credit report to see what you have on there. But everything has to be alive, as I tell people. In order to make your credit score increase or just to move, everything on your report has to be alive. You can't have any accounts that are closed because there's no movement when your accounts are closed. So we'll talk about that in just a few moments. But let's look at some myths real briefly about credit. So when we think about credit, there are always some things that we say, oh, this is factual about credit and this is not. I got 7 things for you. All right. So the first thing is you can't get a credit card if you have low or no credit. Well, that's false. You may not be able to get an American Express card, but you will be able to get a credit card. Right. You can get a secure credit card, which means a secured card means you take your money and you give it to a lender and they put it on a card. So they are actually allowing you to use your money that you put on there. But the bad thing about that is every time you use your money, you're paying interest on it, but you're paying interest to those people. So you've got your money on a card that they are allowing you to use your money, but you're paying them interest for using. There's something wrong with that picture. But we got to have a mindset, because in another show that we could do is we'd say, you take that money and you invest that money, which means you paying yourself the interest. And then when that interest comes, you reinvest it. So you're paying yourself. So see, it's a mindset type deal. And so that's why the rich get rich and the poor get poor.
Better preach.
Okay.
Okay.
So number 2, good credit means that you're rich. It doesn't. It just means that you have access to things that maybe other people don't have who don't have a higher credit score. All right. 3, closing accounts improves your credit score. No, it actually tanks your credit. Like I said earlier, closed accounts means no movement. I mean, it's dead. So you can't get anything out of that. So
that happens when you pay off a house.
When people pay off when people pay off a house, when people pay off credit cards, and then they close them, So that's the thing, when it's closed, not just paying them off, but when you close it, that's the done deal. And that's when you lose out on your points there. Number 4, getting married will merge my credit application or credit information with my spouse's. No, that's incorrect. You have to make sure. Yeah, you got to make sure that when you're married, if you are married, you got to do a joint application if you want both of those to merge. All right. So that won't happen just because you get a name change, or it won't happen. All right. Number 5, paying off debt increases your credit score. Well, this is twofold. It could be true and it could not be true. So paying off debt, if you're paying off credit cards, it will increase your score, but you got to keep those cards open. If you're paying off mortgage loans and paying off a car, actually it could decrease your score because now you're out of loans. All right. So it's a funny thing how the system works. You got to be in debt in order to get a good
to have good credit. Isn't that something?
So, but this is only
that's not your average Joe Sixpack who knows something like that, man.
No, we got 3 different classes in America, and one class don't believe that, but 2 classes do. So that one class continues to get rich off of those 2 classes because they can't see the light at the end of the tunnel. And we've got to think about that.
Brother Edward, I got to run the free 99 banner on this. Y'all getting this information for free. Say it, Brother Edward.
Free 99. This is free 99.
So number 6, we got 2 more to go now. Number 6.
Go ahead.
What, you need more to go?
Yeah, he's got plenty. He's got plenty. Go ahead.
So disputing negative credit items online because it's faster. Now, we all know you can go online and get your credit report. You can sign up with Experian.com, Equifax, and then they have the information on there where you can dispute online. So people go and they choose, this is not my account. Now, it's your account, but this is not my account. I was never late. They choose all of the ones that remember, the credit bureau only gives you a little bit of selection. All right. So people choose those things. send them in. Sometimes they work, most times they don't. But what happens is you tie your hand at a law that says that basically you have verified that. So whether they put it on wrong or not, you can't ever change it because you dispute it online. And so a lot of people don't know that. And that's why credit education is very important. We do factual based disputing, meaning we're going to do it. We're going to type it out. We're going to send it in. We're going to send in documents. All right. We're going to send in the actual documents, not do it online. Because if it was that simple, you think about it. It's made available to everyone. If it's that simple to do it online, why aren't people doing it online? No, it's not. It will actually hang you up, and you'll be upside down for things for 7 years, if not longer. Let's say debt consolidation. Debt consolidation companies are the solution to eliminating my debt. Now, when I was in college, there were a lot of debt consolidation companies that would have you consolidate your credit cards into one monthly payment. It sounds very good, especially if you are struggling. But again, that's a rich system that's dedicated to a poor class of people who they know need this service.
My goodness.
So we'll take all your money, all your debt owed, and we'll compile it together into one lump sum. You're paying a lot of interest on that. They may negotiate some rates for you, but you are paying those people on the back end. And what they're doing is actually is damaging your credit, because they have to put on your credit report that you are in credit counseling or in some type of credit program, which shows lenders, hey, why am I going to give you $500 and you need a credit program? So it really blocks you. You're really the same as having bad credit, because you're going to be denied. You're going to be denied. So there are ways to do this properly and to do it, another way, where you have the ability to do what you need to do to get your credit together. The most common ways that we as human beings misuse credit is we have the idea that our credit cards are like cash and like debit. And every time our wallets itch or our hands itch, we want to go and buy a purse. We want to go and buy a pair of shoes, but we're not thinking about the long-term effect. All we're thinking about is, I got $1,000 to burn. I'm gonna burn as much of it as I can, and I know I can make monthly payments, which are around about $25. Well, they're low for a reason, because the lower the payments and the longer you pay each month, I'm getting interest on the money that I loaned you. It's all a game, and we have to.
I was getting ready to say, what a game.
It's a game. You got to think about it like that. Just like working, that's a game. I'm giving you money based on the number of hours that you worked. Uncle Sam is going to take some of that. Uncle Sam is going to take some of that, and they know you're going to. We have to straighten this out, but we have to start thinking differently. One of the. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so we need a whole new education or re-education of this tax system.
We actually need education.
Period.
Yeah, I think what we've been given is quick fixes and different strategies, but it's just like adding 10 plus 10. You may learn 10 plus 10 is 20, but you didn't break it down to where you understood the ones place and the tens place. You never got any education. So now when we talk about 100 plus 100, you may get it the pattern of 200, but you really don't understand the fundamentals of how I got 200. You just knew that you did 10 and 10 and you added all those columns together, but you don't know what those columns represent. You don't know what that means. And so this is our understanding, of finances tonight. A lot of things that we do, we did it because mama and daddy did it. I know my people back in Marion, they had money, but they paid off things. But there was this thing called credit. Even back then, you go to the store and you can get some snacks and you can put it on the books. It was credit. And when you got paid, your parents went and they paid it off. Whether it was Holly Myers to get some furniture.
Oh, he went back in the vault. He said, "Hi,
or the neighborhood store to put the honey bun and the Cokes because you was working in the.
Now you're really down.
Hey, I'm telling you, I've seen it done.
Yeah.
And so they scratch your name off.
He said, "Scratch your name off, brother Elwood."
Scratch your name off. But that's what we have to think about. We have to think about that. We've been given much now. Our jobs are better. We've been exposed to more, and we've been given more. but many of us are still in the same situation as 1980 and 1970 because the mindset continued.
That's planned.
This
It seemed like that's planned that way by a system, or to
it
have a
is.
rubber band
It's an
effect.
institutional system that is, yeah, it
Rubber
is.
band effect.
Right.
Okay.
And we have to break that. One of the things that I'm doing is every quarter, my family, we get on a financial call and we talk about it. And it's tough,
That's
but
a good idea.
we're gonna make
Yeah.
some moves. I'm gonna get that Maryland fried chicken money on Friday, and I'm gonna get you to invest it. I'm gonna get it.
Well,
But
listen.
we got to do some things like this.
First thing you do is stop eating chicken.
Oh, good. Listen, Dr. Johnson, let me say this. Now, you said something that is really interesting, that your family gets together on a call and talks finances. Why do you think it's taboo for people to get together and talk finances? You know, I could be sitting next to my brother, sister, best friend, and for whatever reason, we don't want everybody to know how much we make, how much we have in the bank, and all that. Like, what are they gonna do? Take it? I mean, what do you think it is, and how do you break that? You know, break that cycle or that curse?
Well, again, you got to break it with, and then I'm going to take a side note. You got to break it with the word of God.
Ooh.
D818 Financial Management Group. D818 stands for Deuteronomy 8:18, where God said he gave us the power to get wealth. All right. That power is right here. All right. That power is education. He didn't say he was going to give you the money. He gave you the power, the ability. Look at Bill Gates, all these people. They're in the garages. They had the power to do it. So they did it. So I believe that our family, we need to break these generational cycles. People may call them curses. People may call them cycles. We need to break these generational cycles of poverty. I'm tired of my people, just getting cars and thinking we're wealthy, or houses. Right, and thinking we're wealthy. No, we're in debt.
Shoes, watches, thinking we're wealthy.
Right.
Yeah.
When you get a car, you need to be able to put gas in it. All right, you need to be able to maintain it. If you can't do all that, then you don't need a car.
Okay.
So we have to think in terms of that. And there's also another scripture in the Bible where this king set out to rule a country, and he left, 3 men, 3 talents. He gave them some money. And what happened when he got back? The first 2, they invested their money, but that last one, he hid it. And that's what we do a lot. Remember, Grandma used to put the money under the mattress. We hide it.
That's the first place. That was
Yeah,
the safest
we hide
place.
it. And we also we're hiding money still. We're putting it in the bank. We're not making any money in the bank. And our money is not supposed to be in the bank. No savings account. You need to have a little bit of money to survive, but the rest of that, it needs to hit the stock market.
And like Dr. Johnson said, that's going to be another show. I can't wait for that.
That's going to be another show.
Yeah, we're going to schedule that. We're going to schedule that with some free 99 information.
Yes.
We're definitely going to do that. All right.
So let's go on to the increasing the credit score.
Yes.
Right? Increasing this. When you take some tips like paying off credit cards, depending on how many you have, your score really could jump up to about 100 points. It just really depends. You got to pay those balances off, though. Pay the balances off for your credit cards. And some people pay them all the way off. And then some people look at their utilization, how much they're using. It's generally supposed to be 30%. I try to tell people, especially my clients, 25. Try to get it down to 25% usage of that particular card. If you can keep it that way and just function on that, your credit score goes up. And what people say is, where you credit worthy now, and we're going to extend your credit. All right. Also, another way to increase your credit score is if you have credit cards already and they're in good standing, you can call the company to say, what would it take for me to get a line of credit increase? All right. So maybe you have $1,000 credit card and you're at $900. All right. So you're at 90% usage. But your credit card company says, you've been paying good on time. We'll increase your credit limit by another $1,000. So now your utilization rate just went down because you got more credit. All right. So that may be a way that you can do it as well. Some people like to become authorized users on other people's accounts. You may have someone in your family that, has high credit card, limits, but they have low utilization, and they may let you be a part. They used to call it piggybacking. But it's legal. You can actually get on someone's account if they let you get on. But the downside to that is if you're trying to buy a house, they only allow one account for you to be an authorized user on, because you really got to show that you can maintain this on your own. All right. Increasing your credit score. We know paying the bills on time, disputing inaccurate items on your credit report. They're all on there. I don't care how good you pay on time. You're going to find at least one error on your credit report. And you could find it per account. All right. One simple thing, because here's the thing. You have one account, but you have 3 credit bureaus. So all of that information amongst each credit bureau has to be the same. I can't have a $500 balance in Experian and then a $490 balance with TransUnion. No, it's the same account. So somebody is wrong, and you don't even have to prove. You don't have to show them who's wrong. You let them tell you who's wrong.
Right.
And that's what we call factual, dispute. And just make sure you get your credit mix right. Have a very strong credit mix. I'm not saying go out here and get all these loans, but get a good, strong credit mix where it's really vibing with each other and making sure that you're paying on time each month and watching that credit score go up. All right. So last question, can I really repair my credit? Yes, you can really legally repair your credit. All right. This was something that, I found out about when I was in college back in the early 90s. But you can really legally repair your credit. People do it different ways. You got some places who are, going to hit you with $1,500, going to hit you with $2,300, and they're going to wipe it clean. There are people who actually can do that. But I always advise people, whether they're going to sign up with us or not, what we need you to do is to make sure that your mindset is going to change and make sure that you understand the process. Because if somebody's doing something behind the scenes to your credit report and you got people calling you, you don't know what's going on. And now people trying to sue you because they can sue you. These credit card companies, like if you get repossessions and those type of things, those people can come after you. They can sue you because that is a large sum of money. And that's why they sell the debt to like a debt buyer, like Portfolio. Those people come after you. If it's over $1,500, they will come after you. So you have to know exactly what to do. Don't go disputing saying, oh, this is not my account, blah, blah, blah. No, now you just said, hello, I'm home. This is where I live now.
Right.
And so they got your address.
So when you sell the debt, what kind of profit can they make off of selling the debt to another institution?
So I have people, let's say I have a person that I gave a credit card to and they owe me $2,000. So they defaulted on that. Right. Your company says, Mr. Johnson, I'll pay you. Now, they're not making any payments to me. I'm calling, I'm harassing them. But your company says, I'll give you $750 for that account. And I'm saying, you know what? Let me go ahead and write it off on my taxes. Right. Because it's a loss for me. It's a loss, and I'm going to take your $750 for this, and I'm going to turn this account over to you. Now, guess how much you go out to the person for? $2,000. But you only paid $750.
You only paid $750
for it. Right. But the risk is whether you can get that the other person can get the money or not. The $2,000.
So you have bought the debt, so you're now a debt buyer, and you only buy debt when it's over a certain amount. And your company, y'all specialize in legality, so you're gonna take that person to court. See, we too small. We ain't gonna take them to court. We need somebody like you to buy it from us, so that you can take them to court and you can get your money and do whatever else you need to do.
Or repossess what he has. Repossess what that person has.
Exactly.
Get his assets.
Right.
Whoa.
And actually, we already, if it was a car, we already repossessed the car. We just couldn't get the money, and then we're gonna sell it to somebody else who gonna get the money. Because when they repossess the car, please trust and believe they've already sold that car. They sold that car. They've got that money, and that's what we teach in our credit repair class. There's certain things that if you got a repossession on there, certain things you need to ask the bureau to provide you. There's insurance that you've paid already. There's all these things that you've already paid. So you already paid a lot more into that car than you know. They're not going to tell you that. They're not going to give you that. But those are legal documents that you need to have on your side that you can request. And if they can't provide that information for you in a time frame, then guess what happens? It has to come off your report. But it does not mean that you don't owe it. Those people can still call you, but they just can't put it on your report anymore.
It's kind of like a win-win situation in one way. You get you repair when they say repair your credit, that was a step in that direction, right?
Right.
Yeah, that was a step in that direction. Wow.
I'm telling you, Brother Edward, this we already know we have to bring Dr. Johnson back. Okay.
Oh yeah, definitely.
All right. We have Dr. Johnson. We have Miss Tarsha Anderson-Laboard. We have to bring back more taxes, more credit, talking about investment, anything else that you feel like we need to cover for at least free 99, give them a little bit. But we definitely want people to understand that this is great information that we're able to share with you tonight. But both of these people are in business to help you with your finances, to help you in repair, increase your financial health. And so you can get in touch with Miss Tarsha Anderson-Laboard. I've already posted her information in the chat. But also, if you would like to talk to Dr. Johnson, there's several ways that you can reach him. We have his website.
Oh yeah.
D818fmgnc.com. You can email him, check him out on Instagram, and he's even giving you the office cell. So you have no excuses. None whatsoever.
Now, there's one thing I want to say, Miss April. One thing I want to say.
Mm-hmm.
Now, even though everybody's got this information, you can do this on your own. All right. But here are the things I tell people all the time. Dates and times matter. There's a 30-day process of this, 15-day process of this. So if you're not able to keep up with those processes, then you forfeit certain time limits. All right. That's why it's very important for you to either watch these videos that people are doing on YouTube and watch the sensible ones. There are a lot of them that are going to tell you to do some crazy stuff, and it's a short trick. Don't do the short tricks.
TikTok.
If you're going to watch them, watch the 2-hour webinars that people are doing, or the 1 hour. They're doing it for a reason. So it works. But if you don't have the time, then that's when you rely on people like D818 or other agencies that can assist you in the process. Now, you're still going to work. I'm still going to ask you to do some things, and I'm going to call you and I'm going to make sure you're doing them. And the time is based on you. So you can't say, well, I didn't get this deleted from our report. Well, it was because you didn't turn this in. Mm-hmm. So there's still some work to do. So you just have to make sure that you're willing to do the work.
Wow.
Well, I tell you, this was amazing information.
Really?
Thank you,
Absolutely.
fam. I appreciate you, Dr.
you
Lorenzo Johnson Jr. We will have you back. Tarsha's in the back. She's doing this number right here.
I appreciate you all.
Yes,
this is good stuff tonight.
Thank you so much.
Yeah,
appreciate
man.
you so much. Yeah. And of course, you can catch the replay of this on wcmagazine.net. We're also running on YouTube. I had someone to text me to say that folks wanted to comment, but for some reason they couldn't comment through my personal page. It could be because if you're not on my friend list, you may not be able to comment. But we run on World Community Magazine here on Facebook. And then, of course, you have your YouTube, and you can catch us on wcmagazine.net. Leave comments there, because I'm sure they'll be able to go back and also watch the rebroadcast. But, everyone has thoroughly enjoyed it. Miss Margaret stayed for the whole broadcast, and she's a busy woman. So she stayed and even was trying to rally some of her people down in Charleston to get some information from you guys. Then, just like she said, it was an amazing evening, amazing show. So thank you so much, Lorenzo. I appreciate you. As I call you, Rennie. Thank you. And, best to you. And thank you, Tarsha. I know you're still watching, and it was great. She supported you while you were talking. We really do appreciate both of you tonight. So thank you. Have a good one.
Thank you.
But you all can stay tuned to this.
Yeah, please do.
Stay tuned for this host of information that's coming up to you all.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So we're going to round out our night with some local stuff. We have our WCM Live correspondent standing by. How are you doing this evening?
I'm doing great, doing phenomenal.
All right. Tell me, did you learn a lot tonight?
Oh, I mean, this is a wealth of information, especially for somebody young as myself, about to start in a career, to the point where I would need a lot of information on my financial well-being and health. So it's very crucial that I'm, getting this information at such an early point in my life.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's more valuable to you than a lot of most people, man. Okay.
Yeah, it definitely helps shape my financial future.
Yeah,
it really is. Just like Dr. Johnson said, if he and I had this when we were going into college, we definitely would have known better. Probably would have been millionaires by now. Who knows? And Dr. Johnson may be a millionaire. I don't know. But I will say this: I'm glad you are getting this information. And you're a numbers guy anyway, so I'm sure this is right up your alley.
That's right.
Oh yeah, I love statistics and numbers. So I was just sitting here. I was like, oh, let me do numbers in my head, crunch numbers in my head. it's always a constant calculations going on.
Yes, absolutely.
Oh,
So
man.
Marcus has some good stuff for us
Yeah.
tonight, and we're always anxious to hear what's going on around town and in our community. Thank you, Miss Marjorie, for that. So Marcus, where do you want to start?
We'll start. I've kind of laid out a little platform instead of just rambling off information. So we're going to start off with a little section. The Conway Congratulations is what I'm going to call it. I think it's a pretty catchy name, and it's very appropriate for the topic. We're going to start off first with, once again, Captain Antoine Neesmith from the Conway Fire Department. He received the Fire Department and Public Safety Employee of the Month, which is a very high honor. It's another one of his accolades he's received in the past 2 months. I think it rounds out to 5 he's received in the past 2 months from the city of Conway and from the fire department alone. So congratulations to him again on that. We'd also like to congratulate Mr. Willie Woodbury. He is with the Public Utilities Department of the city of Conway. He's been there 15 years.
Wow.
And he was a very instrumental part in all the murals we see downtown. So we'd like to give those two guys a big shout out for all their hard work constantly in our community, making our lives more efficient, beautiful, and easy and safe.
I wish we
Now
had a
we're gonna talk about
photo
what
of
happened.
him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I wish I'd have been able
Yeah.
to get a photo, but there were so many people there trying to stand around and get pictures. It just made
Right.
everything so much more difficult, you know.
So we'll catch up to that. We'll get better.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. Now we're going to talk about the happenings of the meeting, and this part is very important because this really tells people what happens at the meetings and how they can have an effect. So yesterday at the meeting, they spoke on the property of 1705 McKithen Street. Now, if you remember from I think my original podcast, the first one I was ever on,
Yeah.
we talked about that. They're trying to rezone it for some kind of commercial property.
Right.
And I mean, a host of people from that community, I mean, every bit of 25 to 30 members of that corridor of town all showed up to protest the rezoning of that to a commercial area.
Wow.
Because if they wanted to make it a funeral home, it had to have been one part for every one parking spot. There had to be 4 people, and they had to have accommodations for parking, and it would have taken up the street. And a lot of people were complaining also because that rezoning means they could have had a nightclub, a bar, a tavern, something of that nature that might not have been the most appealing to the community and would have kept them awake late at night and caused a lot of congestion and potential problems.
Yep.
And they had a community letter throughout the neighborhood that received over 45 signatures. And most of those people who signed that paper were at the meeting yesterday to oppose it and voice their opinions. And sure enough, with them showing up, the rezoning got canceled. It was denied.
Wow.
So, I mean, that really speaks to the volume. That speaks to the
Hey,
volume.
there's strength in unity. Strength in unity.
There really is.
Mm-hmm.
There was also another party there, very, very prominent person in my life for sure, and probably a lot of people who went through the Horry County schools, especially through Homewood Elementary. Miss C. Sarah Tenney was there yesterday in attendance trying to get a rezoning because she would like to add a garage to her property. And sure enough, since she showed up and bought numbers, she bought 12 other ladies with her. Some of them were sorors of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. They were there in attendance, and a lot of other prominent. Yeah, they were there in attendance.
Oh, really?
And-
The AKAs, boy.
But due to them showing up, the council saw that and realized it was something pertinent.
Right.
And of course, it was passed. Now she's able to get her garage to cover her vehicle.
Yeah.
Well, all right.
And so that's very important that people show up when they feel something is they need voiced about their living situation or a situation in their neighborhood.
And proactively.
Exactly.
That's
a
right.
voice is power. A voice is power. It's very important. And anybody can attend a city council meeting. It's not like you have to have special clearance. Anybody can attend it.
Let's not get April
That's really
started
important.
over there, man. Okay.
Yeah, that's really important.
So
Also,
we still doing free 99. We are
That's
still,
right.
Oh, man.
we're still hitting that tonight. Go ahead.
and
Mark.
also I wanted to point out the fact there is a public input section in the beginning of every city council meeting. Anybody can get up and ask a question who is in attendance, and if you cannot be in attendance, just make sure to send your complaint to the city clerk's office so that they can voice it at the meeting for you. This allows anybody in attendance 5 minutes to speak with any question they have concerning their community or any concern in the neighborhood, just as long as it doesn't pertain to one city department. That means you can't ask a question about utilities or your trash pickup or something of that nature. But if there's a concern, like you see something that is potentially dangerous or hazardous to your neighbors, or dangerous or hazardous to your home in general, you can come and voice that opinion. So we really try to recommend to people to come to the meeting so you can get your opinions out there, because your voice is important. And the mayor and the rest of the city council would also like to hear it, because they want to make our area as beautiful and productive as possible for everyone who lives in it. So that's very important, very important. Also, we have some other news. The DOT owned a portion of 9th Avenue at the corridor of Pine Street, and the city of Conway has purchased that so that they can maintain the highway better, fix potholes, and also add street lights, because that corner of the road is very dark at night. There's a lot of members of our community who travel there by foot, or some even in wheelchairs due to their disabilities. So the city of Conway has reached out and purchased that from the DOT, and they are planning on adding street lights and better signage, things of that nature, to make it more appealing to the rest of the community. Let's see what else. We also, a lot of people have asked me personally about the pool and about summertime for their kids and things of that nature. That's been very important. It's been a very pertinent issue in the community. And I would gladly like to report that due to a entitlement grant the city of Conway received about 6 years ago through the Housing and Urban Development Commission, they will immediately proceed to start doing construction on the Smith Jones pool.
Well, all right.
Yeah, so that's a big win for our community, big win for everybody in the area. I mean, that's a very popular place for kids to hang out during the summertime, and give them something to do and keep them active. So that's very important.
So that's when you say immediately, they're ready for the summertime, this summer coming, right?
I was going to ask how long it take.
The problem with that is DHEC has had a holdup on the permit for them to build. They're trying, and they haven't had anything to any avail from DHEC to get the permits and all the other licensing for production and construction on the pool.
Okay.
Yeah, but they're trying their hardest.
It sounds like we need a unified front to push DHEC.
That's right.
And see, that's the thing about it. DHEC has open contact lines. Another thing, your voice is important. People who care about the pool and want their children and grandchildren, nieces, nephews to be able to have something easily accessible to them, they can go and use that pool. Make sure you reach out to DHEC and let them know about your complaint and wonder what the holdup is on that permit. It's very, very important. But there was also, and all of the city department heads have to give a report at every meeting. And Mr. Ashley Smith gave a very, very important, a lot of information, very in-depth, very detailed. He also made sure to let everyone know that they're also going to be redoing the flooring in the pool at the rec center, due to the fact that there may not be a Smith Jones pool this year.
Oh.
But there's also a new scholarship program for children who can come and swim free of charge. To accommodate for the fact of them having to get from their houses or neighborhoods to the Conway Rec Center. They have a lot of scholarships and incentives for children can come and swim free of charge. Just enjoy the pool, and it's very, very important. So we want people to go to the Conway Rec Department website so that they can register their kids for the summer camp, the scholarships for the pool, and also for the Camp Great basketball tournament that is going to be starting back up this year. It's been on hold for the past 2 years due to COVID, and they're finally going to start it back up this year. So people can go and register as individuals and be put on a team, or register as a whole team. There's more information on that, of course, on the Parks and Recreation website. So make sure to go check out Conway Rec and make sure to get all their stuff so you can have your child there and they can enjoy the summertime and enjoy the pool and all the other amenities offered by the city of Conway.
And, that's awesome that Camp Great is coming back. I definitely hope that, the pandemic numbers stay low so that that's something that can be reinstated, because that was a very impactful program in the community for a lot of years. And, Cassandra Spain, she was instrumental in that program before she retired. Yeah.
Yes, she was.
Absolutely.
So that's very important. We want people to know.
She did wonders. Yeah, she did wonders in that program.
Absolutely.
So that's all the happenings from the meeting. Now we're going to give you a lot of community announcements. There's a lot going on in Conway here in the upcoming weeks. Very important. A lot of stuff people could really learn a lot from. So we'll start out here Saturday. They're having the Sportsman's Expo at the Riverwalk at Riverfront Park. There's going to be a lot of different venues, a lot of vendors there, events taking place, a lot of exhibitions. If you are a outdoorsy person like myself, it'll be something great to get involved in. Plus, it's free of charge. So even if you don't have anything planned for for your Saturday morning about 10 o'clock all the way till 2. That's something great. Get the kids outside, get the family outside, and just have a great day enjoying nature and what the city of Conway has to offer. Also, there's something pretty interesting I found here. Tuesday, the 29th, there's going to be an event called Coffee with a Cop. The City of Conway Police Department and their community outreach team are going to be at the C3 Coffee Bar by Coastal at 201 Graduate Boulevard from 7 to 10 a.m. on Tuesday. And there you can go there and have community meeting with your local police department and talk about them, some of your personal concerns, things of that nature that are very important. I mean, people really need to know about who's protecting them and become more personable so that we can all feel more safe in our day-to-day interactions. Mm-hmm. That's very important and very pertinent that people get out and really show face at that, to show that we do care about what's going on in the community. That's another big thing, if showing a face.
Yeah, absolutely.
Showing a face is extremely important.
Absolutely.
And you know what? Those Coffee with the Cop sessions are actually great for, just community relationship building all together, because, there's been so many situations where if it's, first of all, we're off of a lot of things that have happened, especially through the pandemic, that involve issues with concerning police brutality and a lot of other things. And this is a way for you to actually talk to a cop one-on-one, up close and personal, to ask the questions that you want to ask, and also to find out what they're really doing to police the community in a fair and equitable way. Hold them accountable for some things that you are concerned about. If you are sitting there talking to someone and you say, I'm concerned about X in my neighborhood, you've established a relationship with someone who can then be your contact for that neighborhood to find out what's going on and how things will be corrected. So, I'm definitely for those types of sessions. And Ms. McIver wants you to repeat the Coffee with the Cop information.
Okay, the Coffee with the Cop is going to take place on Tuesday from 7 to 10 a.m. at 201 Graduate Boulevard, directly across the street from Coastal Carolina and Georgetown Tech University in the plaza.
And that's the 29th, Tuesday the 29th?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, all right.
Yep, the 29th.
Okay, all right.
Kudos to Chief Dale Long for pushing that. He's been pushing that for a while. I mean, he came into the job with that, along with the previous chief. But applaud them for continuing that.
At least making the effort, exactly.
Yeah, an effort. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely very important. It's very important for members of the Conway community, especially because not only is the Horry County Police Chief an African-American male, but most of the patrol supervisors in the city of Conway are African-American. So that's very important for us to get out and show face and really show support to our community. We try to build up each other. Mm-hmm. So when building up each other, we have to show support and show face. It's very important in every aspect of the town.
Mm-hmm. Before you move on, Marcus, Ms. McIver also made a comment, and I think it's really interesting, and maybe this is something you kind of put on your radar as you're taking in the community news. But she talks about the rezoning to commercial properties in Black, well-established neighborhoods, and this may be an effort to rezone property along 378 or with access to 378. So, surely there's some discussions happening somewhere, about the rezoning efforts. And it would be interesting to know if there are any impact studies that the public can access to see exactly what's to come in the future if these rezoning initiatives are passed and can actually take place in our neighborhood, especially along 378, because that's us,
That's us. That's us.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And see, luckily, if you go to the City of Conway website, you can find the agendas and the minutes from every meeting. Mm-hmm. And in the agendas and minutes from every meeting, it has a breakdown of all the rezoning that takes place, the exact acreage, the exact lot numbers, and the exact intersecting highway, so you can figure out where it's at exactly, and it can really help pinpoint to show what rezoning is taking place in African American communities, because a lot of it is taking place in our predominantly and, like you said, well-established African American, like Miss Tenney's house. Miss Tenney's house is right up the road from my great grandmother's house on 16th Avenue, and the adjoining properties to Miss Tenney's house were zoned for a commercial business. And there's no room for commercial business right there.
Right. How'd they come up with that?
And that's right there beside the father's place. Also beside a Black-owned business, which is quick service. And so, you've got a lot going on in that area. And it's very, very important that we have to stay up to date and educated on things that are taking place in our communities, especially.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I tell people, even if you can't attend the meeting in person, you can go back and watch the meetings on the city website, or you can watch them live on the city's Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
So those are very important people to tune into those meetings. They're very important, very information packed.
Mm-hmm.
And so I really do try to push the people. They really need to get out and stay in tune with what's happening in our community.
You're muted, Brother Edward.
I said, or we can count on you.
Well, this
At
is
least for a
true.
little while.
Yeah, this is true.
Marcus,
This is
you're gonna
true.
have to start grooming somebody. We need another WCM
Yeah.
live correspondent, because we know you're gonna be doing great things down in
We're gonna be
Charleston
doing great
soon.
things.
And we can't afford to lose this. This is some valuable stuff right here.
information.
Yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot.
Yeah.
Also, I want to tell a lot of people that anything that you hear me talking about as far as events, things going on the weekends, I mean, the community yard sales, the City Family Fun Day taking place on April 2nd, things of that nature, you can find all of those on the City of Conway website. If you type in City of Conway SC calendar, and it will show you every event in the City of Conway for the whole year.
Say that again, City of Conway.
City of Conway SC calendar. And it literally gives you a 12-month calendar for the City of Conway, month by month, with information on everything. And in each one of the comment boxes that they have on the corresponding dates, there's information, websites, things to look up on and find more information on these events. And it's very important that we make sure to stay up to date on things happening socially, economically, and anything else that takes place in our town.
Is this a Google search?
Yes, ma'am. Just a Google search.
Just
you can
a
type
Google
in
search.
City of Conway SC calendar.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. There it is. There it is. And Brother Edward, guess what?
Yeah.
That's free 99.
Yeah. That's free.
I love the free
It
99
doesn't cost
banner. I love it.
anything to do a Google search. Free 99.
That's right. That's right. You know.
Woo! Well, listen.
Oh, man.
Marcus, this has been wonderful as usual. Looking forward to some more information next week. And I'm telling you, you're doing an amazing job.
Amazing job.
I am just so proud of you, and definitely enjoy having you on this team. And
Absolutely.
so this is information. I learn more from Marcus than I do watching the regular news, because you're breaking it down for us as well.
You're breaking it down for us, okay?
Mhm.
Tell us what's good and what's bad. We just April, we're just gonna have to restructure our program to kind of like make him a lot more inclusive. I'm letting the media, I'm letting everybody know that, okay? How important he has become.
Well, he's already included. Yeah, he is definitely
right.
Mhm.
More inclusion.
Yeah.
So it's going to be part of the the
As much as
original
possible.
hour.
Yes,
Okay?
yeah.
And have your own 15-20 minute segment.
Mhm.
Yeah, there's still plenty. There's always more that that we can look up on as far as City of Conway, but all kind of happenings and events, and it's very important. Like I said, people show up to the meetings.
Right.
If you have a complaint, that's what that 5-minute session is for. Nobody can stop you. You speak your opinion, your voice for those 5 minutes. If something's taking place, show up at the meeting, show your face, so you can voice your concerns when they open it for public discussion.
Absolutely. Well, yeah. So you don't have to be just for the city council meeting, okay?
That's right. Yeah.
If you've garnered information throughout the week that you think is pertinent for and impactful to our community, surrounding community, then by all means, man, we'll have you come on. Just
Well, I like the way you did it tonight with
Yeah.
breaking it down into the 3
Absolutely.
topics, and please continue to do that. School board meetings, everything. Cover what you can.
Absolutely.
That
And,
works. That works.
and if
Right.
you think it's going to be valuable for us to know, let us know.
I will. I'll make sure of it.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Marcus. We
Thank
really
you,
appreciate
man.
it. Stick around. You don't have to go anywhere. Like I said, you're part of the team. So, Brother Edward, we have been an hour and almost 40 minutes here tonight.
40 minutes. Oh,
sir.
man.
But it's been a great hour and 40 minutes. And, great takeaways from the tax talk, from the credit chat, Marcus minutes. We got it going on. Edward's free 99 anytime. And as Tarsha said, don't claim other people's churn. Okay? Don't claim other people's churn. I love that.
But that's a valid warning.
Yes,
Okay.
valid warning.
It's a valid warning.
We've taken a lot away from tonight, and we just want to thank all of our viewers tonight: Ms. Margie McIver, Edna DeWitt, Bonnie Edie, all of the Johnson clan supporting Lorenzo Johnson, all of the Anderson clan supporting Tarsha Anderson-Laboard, Sabrina Moore out of Florida, Jamila Gatson out of Charleston. I'm telling you, we've had Evan Nicholson. Who else we had on here? I'm going to go through the whole list. Deborah DeWitt Smith, we appreciate you. Yvette Anderson. We just thank all of you for supporting, because, you know, we're trying to do our best to bring this community news and make sure you all stay informed. And Brother Edward, how long have you been doing this? Because we started in radio.
Yeah.
And now we're
okay.
How long's it been?
Since the radio? I mean,
since the radio.
Yeah, 2011, right?
Yeah, 2011 is when you started. So
yeah, I think it was 2011.
So 11 years.
Right. Wow.
Ooh,
man.
Wow.
Yeah, man. We
Wow.
got. Let me send out congratulations to Dr. Adamson, who just received a Quill of Valor.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, at the Conway Museum over the weekend. I think it was Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Congratulations, beautiful quilt that he was awarded.
Mm-hmm. So we thank you all. And next week's show, as you know, this month is Women's History Month. Next week, we are rounding out Women's History Month with our own kind of tribute to Women's History Month. We're going to have an international discussion. And I say international because we're going to be bringing into the conversation a great discussion about pretty much the spectrum of women's history. Not so much in a factual way, as in we're giving you dates and times and things like that, but we're going to be talking about how women have impacted and influenced society from, you know, slavery through women's suffrage until now. You know, what the challenges have been as far as women making an impact, the disparities that may include or challenges that may include disparities and everything that we're still having to overcome even in 2022. And we're going to have 3 remarkable guests joining us next week. We have Dr. Preston McKeever Floyd, and we have Dr. Nell Jean Rice, both, of course, affiliated with Coastal Carolina University. And we also have Miriam Barrowett. She will be with us as well and give us that international flavor. And I mean, we're going to be talking all things women. So it's going to be a lively discussion. And we hope that you all will join us next week, March 29th at 7 p.m. right here on Facebook and YouTube. And Brother Edward, it's going to be great. It really is.
Oh, yeah. I'm looking forward to that.
It's going to be great.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. And if Marcus, if you feel that you have pertinent information, you certainly want to.
Oh, yeah. We want you, definitely.
Well, there's always something going on around here. So it's going to be there's going to be pertinent information for sure.
So Marcus will be back with his reports. And so you all just stay tuned. And we do appreciate your support. Thank you so much. And Brother Edward, can we take it on out?
I think we can. Thank you for doing such a good job.
You're welcome. I enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun tonight.
Yeah,
Thank you so much. All right, everybody. Have a good night. We'll see you next week.
Thank you for watching the World Community Magazine's Hour of Power Live on Facebook with your host Edward McQueen and April Garner.